The field pay of a parliamentary army. The Lord Strategist marching, £10,000 per annum. Polemarchs, General of the Horse, £2,000 per annum. Polemarch, Lieutenant General, £2,000 per annum. Polemarch, General of the Artillery, £1,000 per annum. Polemarch, Commissary General, £1,000 per annum. Polemarch, Major General, £1,000 per annum. Polemarch, Quartermaster General, £1,000 per annum. 2 adjutants of the Major General, £1,000 per annum. 40 colonels, £40,000 per annum. 100 captains of horse at £500 a man, £50,000 per annum. 300 captains of foot at £300 a man, £90,000 per annum. 100 cornets at £100 a man, £10,000 per annum. 300 ensigns at £50 per man, £15,000 per annum. 800 quartermasters, sergeants, trumpeters, drummers, £20,000 per annum. 10,000 horse at 6 a day, £470,000 per annum. 30,000 foot, each at 1s a day, £500,000 per annum. Surgeons, £400 per annum. Sum, £1,114,400 per annum. 40,000 auxiliaries amounting unto, within a little as much, £1,100,000 per annum. The charge of mounting 20,000 horse, £300,000 per annum. The training of artillery, holding a third to the whole, £900,000 per annum. Summa totalis, £3,414,400 per annum. Arms and ammunition are not reckoned as those which are furnished out of the store or arsenal of Emporium, nor wastage as that which goes upon the account of the fleet maintained by the customs, which customs, through the care of the Council for Trade and Growth of Traffic, were long since improved unto about 1,000,000 revenue. The House being informed of a state of war, the commissioners brought in the state of the Treasury this present year, being the 1/40th of the Commonwealth, received from the 1/20th of this Commonwealth by £700,000 a year in bank, with the product of the sum rising £16,000,000 per annum. Expended from the 1/20th of this Commonwealth, imprimis, for the addition of arms for 100,000 men unto the arsenal of or tower of Emporium, £1,000,000 per annum. For the storing of the same for artillery, £300,000 per annum. For the storing of the same with ammunition, £200,000 per annum. For beautifying the cities, parks, gardens, public walks, and places for recreation of Emporium and Hiera, with public buildings, aqueducts, statues, and fountains, etc., £1,500,000 per annum. Extraordinary embassies, £150,000. Sum, £3,150,000 per annum. Remaining in the Treasury the salaries of the Exchequer being default, £12,000,000. By comparison of which accounts, if a war with an army of 80,000 men were to be made by the penny, yet was the Commonwealth able to maintain such an one above for 3 years without levying a tax. But it is against all experience, sense, and reason that such an army should not be soon broken or make a great progress, in either of which cases the charge ceaseth, or rather, if a right course be taken in the latter, profit comes in. For the Romans had no other considerable way but victory whereby to fill their treasury, which nevertheless was seldom empty. Alexander did not consult his purse upon his design for Persia. It is observed by Machiavel that Livy, arguing that the event in reason must have been had that king invaded Rome, and diligently measuring what in each side was necessary unto such a war, never speaks a word of money. No man imagines that the Gauls, Goths, Vandals, Huns, Lombards, Saxons, Normans made their inroads or conquests by the strength of their purse. And if it be thought enough, according unto the dialect of our age, to say in answer unto these things, that those times are past and gone, what money did the late Gustavus, the most victorious of modern princes, bring out of Sweden, with him into Germany, an army that goes upon a golden leg, will be as lame as if it were a wooden one. But proper horses have nerves and muscles in them, such for which, having 4 or 5 millions, a sum easy with a revenue like this of Oceana, to be had at any time in readiness, you need never or very rarely charge the people with taxes. What influence the commonwealth by such arms hath had upon the world, I leave unto the historians, whose custom it hath been of old to be as diligent observers of foreign actions, as careless of those domestic revolutions which, less pleasant it may be, are not partaking so much of the romance, are unto statesmen of far greater profit, and this fault, if it be not mine, it is so much more frequent with modern writers as hath caused me to undertake this work, on which to give my own judgment. It is performed as much above the time I have been about it as below the dignity of the matter. But I cannot depart out of this country till I have taken leave of my Lord Archon, a prince of immense felicity, who having built as high with his counsels as he digged deep with his sword, had now been 50 years measured with his own unerring orbs. Timoleon, so great a hater of tyrants, that not able to dissuade his brother Timophanes to relinquish the tyranny of Corinth, he slew him, was afterwards elected by the people, the Sicilians groaning under them from under the like burden, to be sent unto their relief. Whereupon Teleclides, the man at that time of most authority in the commonwealth of Corinth, stood up, and giving an exhortation unto Timoleon, how he should behave himself in his expedition, told him that if he restored the Sicilians unto liberty, it would be acknowledged that he had destroyed a tyrant. If otherwise, he must expect to hear that he had murdered a king. Timoleon, taking his leave with a very small provision for so great a design, pursued it with a courage not inferior to, and a felicity beyond any that had been known unto that day in mortal flesh, having in the space of 8 years utterly rooted out all of Sicily, those weeds of tyranny, through the distraction whereof men fled in such abundance from their native country that whole cities were left desolate, and brought it unto such a pass that others, through the fame of his virtues and the excellency of the soil, flocked as fast from all quarters unto it, as to the garden of the world, while he, being presented by the people of Syracuse with his town house and his country retreat, the sweetest places in either, lived with his wife and children in a most quiet, happy, and holy life, for he attributed no part of his success unto himself, but all unto the blessing and providence of the gods. As he passed his time in this manner, admired and honored by mankind, Lephistius, an envious demagogue, going to summon him upon some pretense or other to answer for himself before the assembly, the people fell into such a mutiny as could not be appeased but by Timoleon, who, understanding the matter, reproved them by repeating the pains and travails which he had gone through, unto no other end than that every man might have the free use of the laws. Wherefore, when Dementius, another demagogue, had brought the same design about, and blamed him impertinently unto the people for things which he did when he was general, Timoleon answered nothing, but, raising up his hands, gave the gods thanks for their return unto their frequent prayers, that he might but live to see the Syracusans so free that they might question whom they pleased. Not long after, being old, through some natural imperfection he fell blind, but the Syracusans by their perpetual visits held him, though he could not see the greatest object. If there arrived strangers, they brought them to see this sight. Whatever came in debate at the assembly, if it were a small consequence, they determined it themselves, but if of importance, they always sent to Timoleon, who, being brought by his servants in a chair and set in the middle of the theater, there ever followed a great shout, after which some time was allowed for the benedictions of the people, and then the matter proposed, when Timoleon had spoken of it, was put to the suffrage, which given, his servants bore him back in his chair, accompanied by the people clapping their hands and making all expressions of joy and applause, till, leaving him at his house, they returned unto the dispatch of their business. And this was the life of Timoleon till he died of age and dropped like a mature fruit, while the eyes of the people were as the showers of autumn. The life and death of my Lord Archon, save that he had his senses unto the last, and that his character, being not the restorer but the founder of a commonwealth, was greater, is so exactly the same again, that seen by men wholly ignorant of antiquity, I am accused of writing romance. I shall repeat nothing, but tell you that this year the whole nation of Oceana, even unto the women and children, was in mourning, where so great or sad a pomp of funeral had never been seen or known. Some time after the performance of the exequies, a colossus mounted upon a brazen horse of excellent fabric was erected in the piazza of the Pantheon, engraved with this inscription on the eastern side of the pedestal: his name is as precious ointment, and on the western with this: Grata patria, pie et perpetue memoriae. D.D. Olphaus Megaletor, Lord Archon and sole legislator of Oceana, Pater Patriae, invincible in the field, inviolable in his faith, unfeigned in his zeal, immortal in his fame, the greatest of captains, the best of princes, the happiest of legislators, the most sincere of Christians, who, setting the kingdoms of the earth at liberty, took the kingdom of the heavens by violence.